That's the back. So this story is called The Velveteen Rabbit. It is based on the story written by Marjorie Williams. There's many different versions, or, the way it's written. This is the one from our local school library. So here we go. The Velveteen Rabbit. Oh, interesting fact. It was written in 1922.
Ooh, that's an old book.
It is, isn't it? Once there was a Velveteen Rabbit. He was fat and bunchy. He had brown-white spots, real threaded whiskers, a pink satin ears. He sat on the top of the boy's stocking on Christmas morning.
Oh, it's a gift.
It is.
I wonder if the boy would like it.
I don't know. Would you like something like that?
Kind of.
The boy loved the rabbit, but there were so many other toys for the boy, too. In the excitement of looking at the new presents, the Velveteen Rabbit was forgotten. For a long time, the rabbit lived in the toy chest. The other toys in the nursery felt that they were better than the rabbit. Mechanical toys were full of modern ideas. There was a model boat that liked to use big words, and a lion with legs that could bend. The rabbit felt unimportant compared to the other toys, especially since he was only stuffed with sawdust. So he didn't even have cotton in him. They used sawdust back then.
What? Whoa.
The one toy that was kind to the little rabbit was a skin horse. He had lived in the nursery longer than any other toy. He had belonged to the boy's uncle. The skin horse was very old, and most of his tail had been pulled out to make necklaces, and some of his coat had been rubbed away, but he was very wise. He understood all about the nursery magic and often talked about being real. What do you think that means?
They were making probably because it makes everyone alive and stuff, the toys.
Maybe. We'll have to see, huh? What is real? Asked the Velveteen Rabbit. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle? Real is not how you are made, replied the skin horse. A toy becomes real only when a child really loves it. Fancy toys that can be broken easily never become real because they break too quickly. It takes a long, long time to become real. Often by the time you become real, most of your hair is rubbed away and you look very shabby. Are you real? Asked the rabbit. Yes, replied the skin horse. The boy's uncle made me real many years ago. Being real lasts forever. The rabbit sighed. He wished the magic would happen to him so that he could become real too.
I know something. Probably he make him real, but his legs were still, like the feet were still toys. Maybe. So he put on the wheels.
Oh, maybe. There was a person called Nana who ruled the nursery. She often came to tidy up and put the toys away. One evening at bedtime, the boy asked for his china dog. Nana was in a hurry and couldn't find the dog, so she grabbed the rabbit instead. Here, she said to the boy, take your old bunny instead. The Velveteen Rabbit slept with the boy that night and for many nights after. At first, the rabbit did not like being in the boy's bed. The boy hugged him very tight and sometimes rolled over on him, but soon he grew to like it. The boy would talk to him, they would play games together, and after the boy fell asleep, the rabbit would snuggle close to him all night long. And so time went on, and the little rabbit was very happy. He did not notice how shabby his fur was becoming, or how all the pink had rubbed off his nose, or the boy had often kissed him. Spring came, and the two played together everywhere. They played in the garden and had picnics in the grass.
I see something.
What?
His nose got more pinker, and his ears got more darker pink.
Mm-hmm.
From the boy. From the
From
boy.
the boy loving him, huh? Once the rabbit was left out on the lawn after dark, Nana had to go out with a light to find the rabbit, since the boy could not sleep without him. When she finally found him, he was wet with dew and dirty from the garden. "What a fuss you are making for a toy," grumbled Nana. She wiped the rabbit clean with a cloth. "You mustn't say that," said the boy, sitting up in bed. "He isn't a toy. He's real."
And become.
When the little rabbit heard that, he was so happy. He was real. The boy himself had said it. That was a wonderful summer. The boy often took his Velveteen Rabbit to the woods near the house. Before he went off to pick flowers, the boy always made sure his rabbit was sitting in a cozy place. One day, the rabbit saw two strange creatures creeping out of the bushes near him.
They must be the real rabbits.
You think so?
Yes.
Oh, let's see. Oh, you're right. They were rabbits, just like him, but these rabbits looked furry and new. They crept closer to him, twitching their nose. The Velveteen Rabbit stared hard at them, trying to see where their seams and wind-up key might be, but he could see nothing. "Why don't you get up and play with us?" asked one. "Can't you hop on your hind legs like this?" And he gave a hop. "I don't feel like it," said the Velveteen Rabbit. He felt awful, for he had no legs at all.
He just had triangles.
Yep. The back of him was all of one piece, like a pincushion. "But wild rabbits have sharp eyes." "He hasn't got any hind legs," called one of the rabbits, laughing. "And he doesn't smell right. He isn't a rabbit at all. He isn't even real." "I am real," said the little rabbit. "The boy said so." Just then the boy ran past them, and the two wild rabbits hopped away. For a long time, the Velveteen Rabbit lay very still, hoping that they would come back. Then the boy came and carried him home. Weeks passed, and the little rabbit grew very shabby, but the boy loved him just as much. But then one day, the boy fell ill. His face grew flushed. His body was so hot it burned the rabbit when he held him close. Strange people came and went, and a light burned all night long. The Velveteen Rabbit lay under the covers without stirring, afraid someone might take him away. If they found him, he knew his boy needed him. The boy was sick for a very long time. He was too ill to play, and the little rabbit found it dull with nothing to do all day. But he waited patiently for the boy to get better. And as the boy lay half asleep, the rabbit crept close to the pillow and whispered in his ear. He talked to the boy about how they would go into the garden and play games together, just as they used to as soon as he became better. What do you think's going to happen?
It will become real.
Do you think he'll get better?
Yes.
At last the boy got better. One day they let him get up and dressed. They carried him out to the balcony. He was excited to go to the seaside the next day. The rabbit was excited to go to the seaside. The boy had talked about it often. Then the doctor ordered all the books and toys and bedclothes to be burned. The room had to be disinfected. "What about his old bunny?" asked Nana. "Oh, it's full of scarlet fever germs," said the doctor. "Get him a new one. This one must be burned at once." Oh, no.
He don't be so sad.
Exactly. So the little rabbit was put into a sack along with the picture books and other toys. The gardener was supposed to make a big bonfire, but he was too busy just at the moment, so he decided to take care of it the next morning. That night the boy slept in a new room. He had a new bunny to sleep with. He was so excited to go to the seaside, he didn't think much about his new bunny very much. While the boy was asleep, the rabbit was in the backyard, lying in the sack with the toys and picture books. He felt very lonely. The sack had been left untied, so the little rabbit peeked out. He shivered a little, for he was used to sleeping in a warm bed. His coat had become so thin from hugging that it didn't protect him from the cold. Nearby were some raspberry bushes. He and the boy had played there many times. He thought about those times and felt very sad. He thought of the skin horse, whom he would never see again, and then a tear trickled down his shabby velvet nose and fell onto the ground. Suddenly, a flower grew out of that ground. Just where the tear had fallen, it had become a beautiful green leaves and a blossom that looked like a golden cup.
Whoa, but Toys can't see it. He's becoming real.
The blossom opened, and out stepped a fairy. Her dress was made of petals and dewdrops. Her face was as beautiful as a flower. She put her arms around the little rabbit and kissed him on the nose. "I am the nursery magic fairy," she said. "I take care of all the playthings that children have loved and made them real." "Wasn't I real before?" asked the rabbit. "You were real to the boy," she said, "but now you shall be real to everyone." The fairy held Velveteen Rabbit in her arms and flew with him into the woods. The moon had risen, and wild rabbits danced in the velvet grass. "I've brought you a new playmate," said the fairy. "To the wild rabbits he will live with you forever. Run and play, little rabbit." At first, the little rabbit felt shy because he had no hind legs. But then something tickled his nose, and without thinking about what he was doing, he lifted his back leg to scratch it. The Velveteen Rabbit had hind legs. His ears twitched by themselves, and his fur was as soft and brown. He gave a leap of joy. He had become a real rabbit at last. When he turned around to look for the fairy, she was gone. Autumn passed, then the winter did too. In the spring, when the days were warm and sunny, the boy went out to play in the woods. One day, while he was out playing, two rabbits crept out to peek at him. One of them had brown and white spots and an expression in his eyes that seemed strangely familiar to the boy. "Why, he looks just like my old bunny that was lost," said the boy. But he never knew that it really was his own bunny. He had come back to look at the child who had helped to make him real. The end. What do you think of that story?
It was pretty cool. I wanted to know maybe a second one where the boy found out they weren't born and found out the rabbit he saw was actually his toy bunny. I wonder if that will happen.
What was your favorite part?
I liked it once he cried and the fire comes up and then he became the real rabbit. That was cool.
I liked that part too. Well, we hope you enjoyed the story. Thanks for listening.